And we're back. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins, where today we're going to be doing more of the same, basically. This is going to be me finishing up reading Codex entries, because we had too many of them last time to actually finish off, so we're going to get as many as we can here, which may take a while. But a couple of long episodes of Codex reading, honestly, will mean I can do them shorter and interspersed throughout as we go. Again, I'm just going to be reading these, not reacting or providing opinions or context or anything. This is solely so that if anyone is interested in the Codex entries, you have a way to hear them. So, creatures first. Abomination. We arrived in the dead of night. We had been tracking the Maleficar for days and finally had him cornered, or so we thought. We approached a hole on the edge of town exploded, sending splinters of wood and fist-sized chunks of rocks into our ranks. We had but moments to regroup before fire rained from the sky. The sounds of destruction wrapped in a hideous laughter from the center of the village. There, perched atop the spire of the village chantry, stood the mage. But he was human no longer. We shouted prayers to the Maker and deflected what magic we could, but as we fought, the creature fought harder. I saw my comrades fall, burned by the flaming sky or crushed by debris. The monstrous creature, looking as if a demon were wearing a man, like a twisted suit of skin, spotted me and grinned. We had forced it to this, I realized. The mage had made this pact, given himself over to the demon to survive our assault. Transcribed from a tale told by a former Templar in Cumberland, 884 Blessed. It is known that mages are able to walk the Fade while completely aware of their surroundings, unlike most others who may only enter the realm as dreamers and leave it scarcely aware of their experience. Demons are drawn to mages, whether it is because of this awareness or simply by virtue of their magical power in our world is unknown. Regardless of the reason, a demon always attempts to possess a mage when it encounters one, by force or by making some kind of deal, depending on the strength of the mage. Should the demon get the upper hand, the result is an unholy union known as an abomination. Abominations have been responsible for some of the worst cataclysms in history, and the notion that some mage in a remote tower could turn into such a creature, unbeknownst to any, was the driving force behind the creation of the Circle of Magi. Thankfully, abominations are rare. The Circle has methods for weeding out those who are too at risk for demonic possession, and scant few mages would give up their free will to submit to such a bond with a demon. But once an abomination is created, it will do its best to create more. Considering that entire squads of Templars have been known to fall at the hands of a single abomination, it is not surprising that the Chantry takes the business of the Circle of Magi very serious indeed. Arcane Horror. Upon ascending to the second floor of the tower, we were greeted by a gruesome sight. A ragged collection of bones, wearing the robes of one of the senior enchanters. I had known her for years, watched her raise countless apprentices, and now she was a mere puppet for some demon. Transcribed from a tale told by a Templar in Antiva City. Demons, of course, have no form in our world. When they enter, either where the veil is particularly thin or through blood magic summoning, they must take possession of a body. When a pride demon takes control of the corpse of a mage, an arcane horror is born. Although they appear to be little more than bones, these are fierce creatures possessing not only all the spellcasting abilities of a living mage, but also the capacity to heal and even command other animated corpses. Archdemon. In darkness eternal they searched for those who had goaded them on, till at last they found their prize, their god, their betrayer, the sleeping dragon Dumat. Their taint twisted even the false god, and the whisperer awoke at last in pain and horror, and led them to wreak havoc upon all the nations of the world. The first blight. The false dragon gods of the Deventer Imperium lie buried deep within the earth, where they have been imprisoned since the Maker cast them down. No one knows what it is that drives the Darkspawn in their relentless search for the sleeping old gods. Perhaps it is instinct, as moths will fly into torch flames. Perhaps there is some remnant of desire for vengeance upon the ones who goaded the Magisters to assault heaven. Whatever the reason, when Darkspawn find one of these ancient dragons, it is immediately afflicted by the taint. It awakens twisted and corrupted, and leads the Darkspawn in a full-scale invasion of the land. A blight. Bear. Yes, we know what a bear is, so I'm going to skip this one. You can pause and read it yourself if you're that interested. A corpse. To anyone who doubts the wickedness of blood magic, I say, with your own hand, strike down the corpses of your own brothers who have fallen in battle to a Maleficar, then we may discuss morality. Knight Commander Benedictus, in a letter to the Divine, 546 Exalted. The Walking Dead are not, as the superstitious are wont to believe, the living come back for revenge. They are rather corpses possessed by demons. The shambling corpse, controlled by a demon of sloth, causes its enemies to become weak and fatigue. Corpses possessed by rage demons go berserk and simply wade into their opponents mindlessly. Devouring corpses are held by hunger demons and feed upon the living. The more powerful demons rarely deign to possess a dead host. Desire Demon. In all my studies, I must say that the most intriguing was my interview with the Desire Demon. If the creature was willing to speak with me, was a sign that this was no mere monster, mindlessly driven by its nature, rather a rational being as interested in me as I was in it. It took a form that I would call female, though I had no doubt that it could appear otherwise. I wondered if it appeared as it did because I wanted it to or because I expected it to. She, and indeed I could only think of her as such now, smiled warmly at me and laughed a musical sound that seemed to thrill my old heart. So frightened was I of this creature's legendary abilities to twist the hearts of men, so relieved was I when I looked across the table into her dark eyes. This was a fearsome creature of the Fade, but as I spoke with her, I slowly came to realize that this demon was merely as misunderstood as we mages are ourselves. From the journal of former senior enchanter Malleus, once of the Circle of Rivain, declared apostate in 920 Dragon. Of all the threats from beyond the Veil, few are more insidious and deceptively deadly than the Desire Demon. In folklore, such demons are characterized as peddlers of lust, luring their prey into a sexual encounter only to be slain at the culmination. While a Desire Demon can indeed deal in pleasure, in truth they deal with any manner of desire that humans can possess, wealth, power, and beauty to name a few. Far more intelligent than the bestial hunger and rage demons, and more ambitious than the demons of sloth, these dark spirits are among the most skilled at tempting mages into possession. Many who serve the whims of a Desire Demon never realize it. They are manipulated by illusions and deceit, if not outright mind control. Although these demons are reluctant to resort to such crude measures, Instead, they seem to take great pleasure in corruption. The greater the deceit, the greater the victory. Only demons of pride prove more fearsome opponents when roused. Their abilities to affect the mind allow them to assume disguises and even alter the environment to their purposes. Not to mention the great strength and speed they possess if they should have to resort to more physical means. Most often, a desire demon will attempt to bargain its way to freedom if overpowered. Many stories exist that depict mages defeating desire demons to the point where a wish can be wrested from them. It should be noted that in such stories the demon almost always gets the upper hand, even when the mage thinks his wish has been granted. Dragonlings. Newly hatched dragons are roughly the size of a deer and voraciously hungry. They live for a short time in their mother's lair before venturing out on their own. The slender wingless creatures are born in vast numbers, as only a few ever make it to adulthood. Genlock. These are the most common dark spawn in the underground. Stocky and tough, Genlocks are notoriously difficult to kill even by magic. Alphas. In any group of Genlocks, there is usually one who is dominant. As the tallest, strongest, and smartest of their kind, Alphas serve as a sort of commander, directing or bullying the others in combat. Emissaries. The most intelligent of the Alphas become gifted sorcerers with many abilities akin to blood magic. These are the emissaries, and they usually only appear during a blight. Golem. Once a crucial part of Orzammar's defenses, golems have all but vanished as the secret to their manufacture was lost over 1,000 years ago. What few golems remain are guarded closely by the Shaperate, brought out when the battle with the Darkspawn grows desperate enough to risk their loss. No one now would sell a golem for any price, but in ancient times, dwarves sold many golems to the Magister Lords of Tevinter. They are devastating weapons in war, living siege engines, capable of hurling boulders like a catapult or plowing through enemy lines like an earthquake. Hurlock. Taller than their Genlock cousins, the Hurlocks are roughly of human size, but are possessed of considerable strength and constitution. The shock troop of the Darkspawn, a single berserking Hurlock, can often be a match for numerous opponents at once. They are known to adorn themselves with roughly carved tattoos to keep track of their kills and deeds, though it is unknown whether or not there is a uniform standard to these markings. Alphas. Alpha Hurlocks are more intelligent and more skilled fighters, often serving as commanders or even generals. Emissaries. Hurlock emissaries have also been known to appear during a blight. These Darkspawn are the only ones recorded as being capable of human speech. They are often capable of employing magic. Mabari Warhound. Dogs are an essential part of Ferelden culture, and no dog is more prized than the Mabari. The breed is as old as myth, said to have been bred from the wolves who served Dane. Prized for their intelligence and loyalty, these dogs are more than mere weapons or status symbols. Hounds choose their masters and pair with them for life. To be the master of a Mabari anywhere in Ferelden is to be recognized instantly as a person of worth. The Mabari are an essential part of Ferelden military strategy. Trained hounds can easily pull knights from horseback or break lines of pikemen, and the sight and sound of a wave of war dogs howling and snarling has been known to cause panic among even the most hardened infantry soldiers. Nug. The Nug is an omnivore common to the deep roads, a hairless creature that is almost blind, as well as completely docile. It spends most of its time wading in shallow pools, as well as mud pits, feeding on small insects, worms, and, in a pinch, limestone, and simple metals. Indeed, the digestive system of the nug is legendary, able to make a meal out of almost anything a nug finds on the cavern floors. Nugs reproduce rapidly, spreading into any niche within the deep roads they can find, and serve to support a variety of predators, such as giant spiders and deep stalkers. So too do dwarves make meals out of them. Nugs are, in the poorer slum portions of Orzammar, one of the most common sources of meat available. Some dwarves even domesticate the creatures, claiming to find the creatures high-pitched squeaks pleasing. Ogre. Towering over their darkspawn kin, the massive ogres are a rare sight on the battlefield. Traditionally, they only appear during a blight, but some records claim the ogres have been spotted in the deep roads, hunting alone or in small groups. At least one report by the Grey Wardens claim that an ogre was spotted alone in the Korkari wilds in 919 Dragon, though it was weakened and easily dispatched. Up to 100 of these creatures can accompany a darkspawn horde at any one time during a blight, often using their great strength to burst through fortifications and demolish the front lines of the opposing army. They use brute force to charge their enemies, like bulls, slam the ground with their fists to shake enemies off their feet, and hurl giant rocks into the face of oncoming foes. Melee can be difficult against a giant that snatches a warrior up in one hand, crushing the life out of him, or beating him into oblivion with the other hand. The nimble can try to wiggle his way free, or an ally can attempt an array of stunning blows on an ogre to free the comrade in danger. Grey Warden lore urges caution when slaying an ogre, unless it is ensured they have received a major wound to the head or the heart. It is possible they are lying dormant and will regenerate to full health within a matter of minutes. During a blight, most Grey Wardens recommend burning all darkspawn to ashes, dead ogres in particular. Pride Demon. Let me explain what it is to face a Pride Demon, my friends. You may scoff and say our talents exist only to face mages. You will encounter demons often. They will be summoned by a Maleficar and bound to do his bidding, and while at times they will be forced into the possession of a host, they will also face you in their true form. A powerful opponent indeed. Do not underestimate it. Pride is powerful and intelligent. When we have encountered one in its true form, its most common attacks are bolts of fire and ice. Fire they will use to burn an opponent, and the magical flame will combust anything you wear regardless of make. Ice they will use to freeze an opponent in place. Be cautious, for they enjoy employing this against warriors in particular. More than one group of Templars has made the mistake of attempting to overwhelm a Pride Demon and suffered the consequences, believe me. And if you think that having the aid of other mages will assist you, you are wrong. Pride Demons can render themselves immune to magic for short times, and are adept at dispelling magic that is cast upon you, as much as we Templars are able to disrupt spells. Think on that for a moment, my friends. Be wary of how prideful you become, lest you find too much in common with such a fiend. Transcript of a lecture given by Varen, Templar Commander of Tantervel, 686 Steel. Rage Demon. Encountered in the Fade, the true form of a Rage Demon is a frightening sight. A thing of pure fire, its body seemingly made of amorphous lava, and its eyes 2 pinpricks of baleful light radiating from its core. The abilities of such a demon center on the fire it generates. It burns those who come near, The most powerful of its kind are able to lash out with bolts of fire and even firestorms that can affect entire areas. Fortunately, even powerful rage demons are less intelligent than most other varieties. Their tactics are simple. Attack an enemy on sight with as much force as possible until it perishes. Some rage demons carry over their heat-based abilities into possessed hosts, but otherwise the true form is mostly seen outside of the Fade when it's specifically summoned by a mage to do its bidding. Yes, we know what a rat is. Moving on. Revenant. An entire unit of men, all slain by one creature. I didn't believe it at first, your perfection. It appears that this is so. We have a survivor, and well, at first I thought his ranting's pure exaggeration. It appears to be no simple skeleton. The descriptions of the creature's abilities were eerily similar to those our brothers at Marnus Pell encountered almost a century ago. Men pulled through the air to skewer themselves on the creature's blade. The attack so quick it was able to assault multiple opponents at once. No, your perfection, what we have here is indeed a revenant, and nothing less. From a letter to Divine Amara III. A revenant is a corpse possessed by a demon of pride or desire, making it amongst the most powerful possessed opponents that one can face. Many possess spells, but most are armed and armored and prefer the use of their martial talents. They are weak against physical attacks but regenerate quickly, and commonly use telekinesis to pull opponents into melee range should they try to flee. Revenants also have the ability to strike multiple opponents surrounding them. Stay at range if possible and strike quickly. That is the only way to take such a creature down. Shade. It has often been suggested that the only way for a demon to affect the world of the living is by possessing a living or once living body, but this is not always true. Indeed, a shade is one such creature. The demon in its true form that is adapted to affect the world around it. My hypothesis is this. We already know that many demons become confused when they pass through the veil into our world. They are unable to tell the living from the dead. The very static nature of our universe being confusing to a creature is accustomed to a physicality defined entirely by emotion and memory. Most demons seek to immediately seize upon anything they perceive as life, jealously attempting to possess it. But what of those who do not? What of those that encounter no life or fail to possess a body? What of those that are more cautious by their nature? These demons watch, they lurk, they envy. In time, such a demon will learn to drain energy from the psyche of those it encounters, just as it did in the Fade. Once it is drained enough, it has the power to manifest and will forever after be known as a shade. Such a creature spurns possession. It instead floats as a shadow across a piece of land, preying upon the psyche of any who cross its path. Perhaps it believes itself still in the Fade. There is evidence to believe this is so. A shade will weaken the living by its very proximity. If it focuses its will, it can drain a single target very quickly. Some have even been known to assault the minds of a living victim, causing confusion or horror and making the target ripe for the kill. The tragedy of a shade is perhaps that once it has drained a target whole, its appetite is only heightened rather than slaked. From the Journal of former Senior Enchanter Malleus. Skeleton. The demons of the Fade are jealous of the living beings they sense from across the veil. They constantly push against the boundaries of the Fade, and when they finally cross over, they attempt to possess the first living creature they see. They are unable, however, to distinguish that which was once living from that which still is. In fact, a corpse provides an even more tempting target to a weaker demon, as it has no will with which to resist the possession. The demon cannot rationalize why this is so. It only sees a target and grasps at the opportunity. A skeleton is exactly that. A corpse animated by a possessing demon. Upon finding itself trapped within a body that cannot sustain it, the demon is driven insane. It seeks to destroy any life that it encounters, attacking without thought to its own welfare. The exact names given to skeletons of this type vary according to their nature, according to the nature of the demon that possesses it. A fanged skeleton is a skeleton possessed by a hunger demon. These skeletons devour whatever life they encounter, and often possess the ability to drain life energy and mana from their victims. A shambling skeleton is a slower moving skeleton possessed by a sloth demon, able to bring entropic powers against its opponents, slowing them, and even putting them to sleep. More powerful demons have been known to command skeletons, but at that level, they are known by other names. Revenants and arcane horrors, to name two. Sloth demon. And I looked at the creature, and it had become me. A veritable copy of my form, of my very mind, stared back at me as if from within a mirror. I thought surely that this was a trick, an illusion meant to put me off guard. But as I engaged the thing with my sword, it fought me with maneuvers that I recognized. It parried and I parried, it swung as I swung. It spoke to me and said things that only I could know. I think this demon of sloth has no form or identity of its own. It is envy as much as sloth, I believe, and mine was not the first shape it stole that day. An excerpt from a transcribed deposition of Tyrannus, Templar commander of Cumberland, 390 Towers. The most difficult assumption for some who study demons to overcome is the notion that a sloth demon is in and of itself slothful. If that were so, it seems highly unlikely that any such demons would cross the veil into our own world, or, once here, would fight to possess any creature with a will of its own. And we know both these things to not be the case. Certainly some demons are lazy and complacent, but who knows? Perhaps these creatures even cultivate such a reputation. The truth is that demons of sloth are named so because this is the portion of the human psyche they feed upon. Doubt, apathy, entropy. They seek to spread these things. The sloth demon hides in its forms, a master of shapes and disguises, always in the last place you look, and from its hiding place, it spreads its influence. A community afflicted by a demon of sloth could soon become a dilapidated pit where injustices are allowed to pass without comment, and none of the residents could be aware that such a change has even taken place. The sloth demon weakens, tires, tears at the edges of the consciousness, and would much rather render its victim helpless than engage in a true conflict. Such creatures are best faced only with a great deal of will and only with an eye to piercing their many disguises. Giant spider. Giant spiders tend to appear in old ruins and other places where the veil has become thin because of magical disturbances or great number of deaths. In such places, spirits and demons pass into the world of the living and attempt to take control over living beings. Spiders among them. Not all scholars accept this explanation for the presence of these beasts, however. Some claim that the thinning veil allows magic to leak from the Fade, tainting such creatures as these spiders transform into larger and more potent creatures than they ever would become naturally. While such spiders are known to possess powerful poisons and the ability to fling their webs at opponents in combat, studies of them have been few, and the full Range of their abilities are unknown. A wolf is a wolf. I'm not going to bother to read that one. You can pause and read for yourself if you like. Bari dominance. Bari hounds are descended from pack hunters, and like their ancestors, they are highly influenced by a defined order of dominance. The primary method of determining that order is by claiming territory. Yes, I think we get the point. Now, characters and quest related is what's left. We'll start here. Summoning sciences. Apprentices are allowed and expected to willfully direct a minor spirit, provided it is within the protected confines of the library. Placement of shells allows for passive immobilization and the emergency purging of any rogue entity. Take care. This exercise is not to be enacted during maintenance or other disruption of library structure. The danger presented by an incorrect summoning, particularly exercise 3, is extreme. The key to the city. While your concerns have merit, the Assembly has made itself clear. Space within the Tig is at a premium, but the intended function of the hall merits the additional resources committed. The statues of the Paragons must be the core of the hall of heroes. There is no other placement that so benefits dwarven interests. It is the first glimpse that surface ambassadors have of Orzammar, an introduction not just to our living ancestors, but also to the stone from which we were born. They must see it shaped before they can understand the complexity of its raw form. The hall must also serve a second purpose, as a last sight for departing brethren. Those who choose to leave must do so with the heavy gaze of their ancestors at their backs. It is a reminder of duty and of consequence. We will promote all manner of trade, but also reinforce that those who leave for too long will return as strangers to the stone. A report of the Assembly Zoning Commission. Oh great, politics and bureaucracy. Letter from the Blackstone Irregulars, addressed to me. To the inimitable Grey Warden. Your deeds have spread since the tragedy of Ostagar, and I find myself in need of one such as you. I am Raelnor, captain of the venerable Blackstone Irregulars, and I hope to win your trust. The Irregulars have come on hard times since the war with Orlais, but I have fought to improve their reputation. Gone are the days of my father's shady deals with unscrupulous nobles in Denerim. No, I have trained a guild filled with honorable men ready to fight for Ferelden, and I am proud to say I have seen your own Grey Wardens as a sort of model. We are not perfect. My own son advocates a move back to the more lucrative ways my father ran the guild, but we are steadfast. It is in this context I ask for your help, and I promise we will reward you accordingly. Should you be willing, please find letters in this box and others like it all over the land, and carry out the request therein. For this matter, consider requests from my son as if they came from myself. And thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Whether you choose to assist us or not, you are doing the Maker's work, Warden, and I am honored to work with you. Raelnor. This letter is marked with the seal of the Blackstone Irregulars. conscription. Dear friend, you're receiving this letter because you or someone else placed your name on an article of conscription, thereby pledging your life to the Blackstone Irregulars. With war looming on all fronts, the Irregulars must build their numbers. We are forced to call upon those who have sworn their assistance to make good on those oaths. Say farewell to your friends and family. While you may return to them, you must prepare them for the possibility this will be your last day together. Your sacrifice is appreciated. Teheran. Pinch of ashes. The Korkari wilds are rife with legends and myths that have amazed and confounded scholars since the fall of Ostagar in ancient times. One such mystery lies behind the tale of Astia and Nebunar, two young lovers who lived in Ostagar. The legend says that Astia grew up in the company of Gazarath, a spirit of the earth bound to an overhang on the bank of a lake in the Korkari wilds. Gazarath began to fancy her, and they spent much of their days together talking and laughing. Over the years, however, Astia became a woman and began to seek the company of men. When Astia met Nebunar, the two fell in love, and Astia hoped to bring her lover to see her spirit friend. But the spirit, angered and jealous, bade her be gone. Gazarath told her that she would never see it again until she brought her lover's ashes and sprinkled them over their spot. Astia was horrified, and she fled from the enraged spirit. But she began to miss Gazarath, and on the day Nebunar asked her to marry him, she cut her beloved's throat, burned him, and brought the ashes to Gazarath, knowing that their marriage would forever sever her ties to her dear spirit friend. There are legends among the chastened that Gazarath still haunts the lake, and that those who sprinkle the ashes of the deceased over the right spot can summon the spirit. In memory of the contract with its beloved Astia, Gazarath will grant a single wish and then vanish, never to be heard from again. Note is scribbled in the margins. Arcus, I think this is real. If you take the ashes I gave you and scatter them over a pile of rocks on an overhang, looking that half-sunk into Vinter Dome, maybe Gazarath will appear and give you a wish. If the battle takes you there, I think it's worth a try. My dear son Jogby, I fear this is the last letter I will write you. I've had difficulty finding the chastened to bring them the Maker's word. I have, however, seen evidence of their passing. They appear to have left this area in great haste, possibly fleeing the so-called dark spawn that are rumored to be gathering in the wild in even greater numbers. I've left you a weapon and everything else I can spare, my son. I will try to find you once I have found a safe place. I only hope that you will be safe. With luck, we will meet again. If you see her, and tell your mother that I love her and take care of our family. Last Will and Testament. To whoever finds this note, this is the last will and testament of Rigby the missionary, proud speaker of the Maker's word. I have come to the wild to speak the chant, but I fear I will die here at the hands of the dark spawn. I leave all that I came with to my wife Jeddah. Should the reader of this note feel charitable, I have buried a sealed lockbox in our camp, nestled in a Tevinter ruin in the western reaches of the wilds. It is my will that this lockbox finds my wife in Redcliffe, and that it is still sealed shut when it reaches her. To my wife and son, I apologize that my work has taken me from you, but I know that I die in service to the Maker. Signed, the Chastened. The Chastened barbarians are nothing if not clever. They have hidden markers and signs in the arrangement of stones and rubble along the paths of the wilds. In this way, they mark trails, note places of interest, and even give warnings in a way that outsiders cannot understand. Interestingly, these markers look indistinguishable from a regular pile of stones. I have dedicated my time to deciphering these signs, and I believe I am close to a breakthrough. The trail markers seem to point to a hoard or a location used for secret storage among the chastened. I have only found a portion of the message, however. I think that if I could complete the message, find all the trail markers, I can find this cache and see what treasure the chastened have to hide. I found one such marker near this camp, under a fallen tree leaning against the ruins. Each marker seems to point to one or two others. I hear rumors that a darkspawn horde is coming. I hope I can find this treasure before it's too late. The Mages Collective. Despite the Loyalists' grasp on the Mages' political community, many Libertarians and Aquitarians have begun to see eye to eye with respect to the Chantry's role in a mage's daily life. A growing number of mages, particularly those whose magic never strays from the Maker's mandate, feel that the Chantry's constant oversight is a burden upon their creativity and their very will, and one that hinders their ability to do their work. These mages, along with a number of hedge wizards who work their arts outside the Chantry's influence, have formed a shadow guild of sorts. A mages collective wherein members can submit requests and have them seen to without judgment. This collective manages to work in relative secrecy, their members discreet and their clients anonymous. As of yet, this collective has seen no sanction from the Templars, and there has been no sign that its members are practicing magic of which the Maker would not approve. Still, practicing magic outside of the influence of the Chantry is a dream for some and a dangerous notion for others, and many believe that it's only a matter of time before the veil of secrecy is lifted and the Mages Collective is brought to swift and brutal justice. The Scrolls of Banastor. To align with the power of the Fade is but the first of many steps. The further is to align the mind to the Fade's rules and find the ties between the realm of dream and the realm of flesh. This is the true power of blood magic. The flesh and the mind are inseparable, and therein lies the power to influence and control minds. Others may speak of the sanctity of the mind. Those who know the true power of the blood, this is foolishness. The mind is no more sacred than the knee, the small toe, or the ear. It is man's organ of reasoning, nothing more. And true reasoning requires connection to the rhythm of the blood, a tireless pounding of life. Interrupt this, and even the mind is yours to control. Below the text is a diagram of a blood magic ritual in progress with no notation or description. 5 pages, 4 mages. Yeah, that's mostly just gibberish in some language I can't understand, so I'll just give a very brief read of the notes they have on this. Notes on a wondrous discovery, a strange script, uniform by steady hand. Yes, one would expect an engine of the Maker to be steady. In fact, it follows all my expectations of the words the Maker would bestow. It is perfect, and once translated, I will have such fun lording this over the Chantry. Worth every bit. Enchanter Gaius. Notes on the page below. Maker take the vendor. A copy? A fake? Why didn't I see it? It was obvious. Spake? Laughingstock? No one must know. Bea Joam. I find him, I'll kill him. The words elude me, but I will defy their obstinateness. Worked by the old gods, or the Maker himself, I will wring their secrets into my hands. I need the essence of the powerful and the pure, so begins a bloody road, but at the end godhood, the keys to the Black City. Enchanter Ronus. Guard of the Reaching. I'm telling you guys, it's a test like the summoning. Why else would lessons be cancelled? And that outburst in the library with Uldred? An older tome fell to a page on the Reaching. I copied what I could before they pushed us out. Ritual note. A sword lowered to strike through and ground. Can't tell me I wasn't supposed to see that. It's too convenient. I'm looking for more and you'd be smart to help. No, 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 and stop asking. I'm not getting in trouble because of you again. I don't care what's in the basement, and neither do the senior magi. Everything is about Uldred and the upper floors. I don't know what you're digging up, but those tomes are way older than our lesson texts. An apprentice shouldn't touch them. Ritual note. The threads burned before a giant spear raised. He stands alone, so whispers are known false. Nolan. Scribbled in corner. Don't need him. Away new Reaching. First enchanter. Dorval fell suddenly to a disease of the lungs. This unfortunate disruption in the direct line of descent from tower founding should be treated as opportunity. The circle will reform practices to better address the times. Many rituals remain valuable, but some, the two bells, Garnold's Lament, Watchguard of the Reaching, Ben Ferda, have little or no meaning in our texts. We will move forward as Dorval would have wished and commit these and other ceremonies to the age we have left. With no plan of estate, his belongings have been transferred into the common library for the benefit of all. Excerpt. Circle of Magi Declaration, Kinloch Hole Transitional, 590 Exalted. Scribbled in the corner. Reaching again, and old. They don't know. Idiots. Wart weaken. Today we passed even further, far beyond any reach of man. The inverted glow of the Black City was always on the horizon of perception, but a path eludes as always. Untraveled in memory, living or otherwise, there is a pull and whispers abound. Something great is there. And away from this, always in peripheral, another mind, untethered. Tomorrow I will reach out with my full attention and try to rescue him from his listing. Someone else have come this far. The wonders we will share. Ritual note. The vessel in hand, words from another time drip literal power. Documents of the Reaching, estimated 2nd century. Ancient first enchanter appointed Watchguard of the Reaching to be held in secret. Reaching before the circle. Someone else in the Fade? I want this. His silver cord transmuted black. Black. There is no wonder his form shattered. What returned was not of the mortal nor native Fade. Does an afterthought prove the gods? Direct action is long missing. There is no purpose to this beast. Let the strength of the tower wither it, and memory pass. The only legacy to be taught, stay focused within the Fade. Whims escape to their own action. A sword raised to sever connection. Documents of the Reaching, estimated 2nd century. Same thing of above. Cord. Peasant magic. Must know. Can almost see. Whispers want. Maleficar regrets. I won't go back. Let them hunt and dread finding me, but you, Melis, should not live this life. It would please me if you found a life in the Circle Tower. I left a few things there, mostly stolen from the enchanters. Sell them to fund a new path. The cash is in the study area. Middle alcove. Goodbye. The Spot. Maker's Wind, Darcy. I said I'd wait, but it's not just a disagreement. Uldred set abominations loose. One was in my mentor's robe. If you make it here, something in the Spot may help you out. No point in hiding it from the senior mages now. And don't worry about Denry's usual fee for moving his bed. He's dead. Apprentice Mand. Letter of termination. My dear apprentice, I have sent this courier with this note to officially end your period of apprenticeship. I harbor you no ill will, for despite your complete incompetence, you have failed to do lasting harm to myself or my work. Sadly, I will not have a chance to witness your floundering attempts at improvement. When you return from your current errand, your apprenticeship will be over. Now hurry. I have dire need of the supplies I sent you to procure. Well, it looks like we're going to be doing a part 3 of Codex reading, because there's just that bloody many of them. I should not have put this off so long. Anyways, it's been Dark Phoenix Gaming, and thank you for watching me reading Codex entries in Dragon Age Origins. See you next time.